As what did you say? What did you do? What did you think? And today we're bringing a video here with some live commentary, bit unscripted, on ability cards and loadout options and what I've learned thus far since achieving, let's see, look here, rank 132. Um, it's been a minute and been an experience. um, the best thing I could really say, to start out is perhaps just a little disclaimer. Like I said, I like to do these videos to share and preserve the memory of my gaming experience, and hopefully, folks can get something out of it. Now, bear in mind, some of the things I may state or my tactics may not be your preference. I do apologize if things do fall short of particular expectations. Um, but at the same time, I think I can offer an interesting perspective, and like I said, I like to preserve the memory of my experience as well. So as you can see here, I've unlocked and leveled all of the ability cards. At least once. Of course, there are a good main chunk that I have taken to level 3, as you can see here, and I tell you, all in all, I've also too investigated a lot of the uh, blogs that are out there and the other videos that various different more, I guess, popular viewers have put out, broadcasters have put out, and they're informative, they're good. It's just unfortunate, about the amount of time that it takes to actually level all the ability cards and get them to some point worthy of testing and taking note for. And for me, I wanted to make sure that all of them were unlocked and at least leveled once. What you see here displayed is my preferential build at the moment, and I highly stress at the moment, because in all, the ability cards, as part of this disclaimer to the video here, you know are are worth using. At the same time, they're not necessary. Simply because what will trump any of the builds that are there are some nice explosive ammunition, or even some nice incendiary shells there, ammunition, or either, like say dynamite arrow ammunition, or take for example dynamite, and you have your volatile dynamite. You also too have your fire bottles and your volatile fire bottles. You have knives and throwing and poison knives, hatchets, tomahawks, which can be thrown. And you have this hatchet here, you have the meat cleaver here, and you have the knife here. All these things will trump any build that is available. um, Matter of fact, and I appreciate the realism in my opinion, because you wouldn't really want anything to survive a hatchet to the forehead. uh you know and depending on the shot, and depending on the build, and one or two explosive shots, or when I come with it, I come with it hard. I'm going to pull out both of these, and I'm going to shoot a person with explosive round and incendiary round and ask questions later. If they're at a distance, hit them with dynamite arrows. I just don't. I'm not here to play with the situation if I'm involved in it. My deal, as you can see, is to run honorably, and I'm not looking to incite or instigate a situation. If anything, I like to use wisdom, and when wisdom steps out, violence steps in. Typically, every so often I might enjoy some of the reindeer games, so to speak, with folks, but um, by and large, I like to keep it chill, and I'm here to make money and enjoy myself. I mean, I'm in my 40s. I'm 40. I'll be 45 in March, and I deal with chronic pain, and so gaming may not quite be what it is for me as it is for others. But let's respect that, and we'll get along. Anyway, um, So with that defensive aspect in mind, I have more of a defensive build here, what I would consider more of a tank loadout. Um, and there's a lot of ways you can view and understand these cards here. Um, as well as the understanding that these cards and everything can be highly reinforced with, your tonics, um, as well as what foods you may decide to eat. For example, your big game, with mint gives you health, with oregano gives you stamina, and with thyme gives you deadeye. Now, there are things to keep in mind in regard to these factors as well, certain limitations and as well as aspects of enhancement. Um, but first on the list, I guess we could cover here is in my opinion, the types of cards you have. You have your main Deadeye perk cards, listed as Deadeye abilities, and you have your really next on the list is your DPS or your combat abilities, listed across here. And of course you have your healing or recovery abilities, which are here. And then you have your tank abilities, which are listed across here, or what they call defense abilities, listed across here. Now, all these are quite expensive, and you do have to acquire certain ranks to achieve them. I believe rank 50 is the maximum to unlock them all, with a purchase price of $50 for the initial buy-in, $350 to level 2, and $500 to level it to level 3. And along with this, I could, in understanding, how you can place all these things together, I would say that first and foremost, and probably everlasting as long as the game allows these ability cards to exist, you will have the ability of role playing, which is quite interesting. If you pay attention to the imagery on the cards, as well as the names on the cards and the way they list out, you could role play as a vampire, for example, a werewolf, a Wiccan, some lost Kryptonian. I mean, the list goes on. An enhanced human being, a mutant, an individual who practices magic. It's really cool to me, the diversity of the cards and the manner in which you could role play with them. I saw a guy running around looking like a vampire, super pale, black hair. Rode a black horse, the whole nine. It had a badass red vest that, to kind of make it pop. And I'm quite sure they were using ability cards to enhance the aspect of being a vampire. Perhaps enhance sight with painted black. You could do an aspect of slippery bastard, which could put out a weirding aspect or a sensory perceptual aspect on those who wish to do you harm, coupled with aspects like, from the healing side, because vampires tend to get, more of whatever their abilities tend to be. With kills, for example, with killing an enemy, you have, eye for an eye, you have, this here strange medicine, you get a lot of health or gain health, as, when you inflict damage. And you have, aspects like cold-blooded, to even reinforce the point of being a vampire, for example. And of course, depending on your lore and your creativity with how you might want to blend the situation, you could just be so simple as a super cowboy. Nonetheless, though, the cards are there to be had, like I said, at the very least, to the very most, in the form of role playing. Now, as far as build loadouts and abilities and what have you, you've got, of course, your tank loadout, or your what they call your defensive abilities. And of course, you can go with a recovery loadout with recovery abilities, as well as a DPS or a combat loadout. And there are also two hybrids of all these, which you could combine and create your own loadout. And I also to understand that you can, in whichever combination you decide to go with, create what I consider to be a tonic loadout, utilizing the gift of focus. This ability here will affect, of course, your bar. As a matter of fact, keep in mind, all ability cards affect your bar around your cores, which I will show you. The lower left-hand corner of the screen, you see your, above my map there, you'll see my heart core, stamina core, deadeye core, and there's no bar around the deadeye core. I have all my bars fully leveled, so therefore they go all the way around the cores. Now you can go ahead and take a tonic, for example, and now you've got a gold core around your bar with that particular tonic. And at that particular level, it will last a particular amount of time, or a strain against it by use of an ability, or taking damage if it's in relationship to your heart core or stamina core. Now, don't think that the abilities will help you with your actual cores. What's only going to affect your cores are going to be your foodstuffs located in your satchel under provisions. And a lot of times you need to click into them to go ahead down your list of your inventory. You do have a limited supply of things within, if you hold down the L1 or R1, depending on, your hand usage there, control setup, or game system. You can go ahead and, click into your provisions, your immediate provisions and rations. Now keep in mind too that while you have any one of your abilities active, and especially your Deadeye active, you can maintain or sustain your cores and your bars with items in your inventory while things are active. So very much similar to a lot of your other MMOs, your role-playing games, and what have you. You could drink a soda or whatever, put down some energy restore thing while you're doing what you're doing. Some games allow certain abilities to be perpetuated that way, and then others, because of balance, may not. But if you're using any one of your Deadeye abilities, you can maintain that if you have time to negotiate the situation under fire. uh, you know any of these Deadeye abilities. So that's an important note to keep in mind. Uh, let's see here. Like I said, this is a bit unscripted, so bear with me. So, like I said here, so you have your Deadeye abilities, and next I'd like to go ahead and oh shit.